Dodge the scammers. An ex-bank worker reveals the transaction apps you should avoid at all costs, and which to rely on for safe, everyday transfers. So, a former bank employee has revealed which transaction apps are the safest and issued a warning about the popular money exchanging apps you should avoid using, including only using Zelle with friends and family. Former bank employee and TikToker Sydney Bean, based in the US, explained which transaction apps will protect your money in her latest video posted to her TikTok channel, where she boasts over 115,000 followers. From only using PayPal for international transactions to never using Zelle with someone you don't know, Sydney detailed why these transaction apps may not help you if you're scammed and which apps you can count on. So, responding to a comment that asked her which transaction apps are safe, the TikToker described why you should or shouldn't trust apps like Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, and Cash App. Let's see. Here are the transaction apps that I do and don't use as a former bank employee, she said at the beginning of her video. The former bank employee first began by detailing the popular transaction app Venmo, noting that she does use it, but never keeps money in it. I do use Venmo, but I never keep money in there because it is not insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Also, I connect it directly to my debit card so that if it is fraudulently accessed somehow, I only have to replace my debit card and not my entire bank account that's linked to it. And anytime I'm conducting a transaction on Venmo, it's drafted directly through my debit card. Sydney then explained this means that if she ever needed to dispute a transaction, she could do it with both Venmo and her bank. Venmo was released in 2012 and gained popularity throughout the years, and with over 50 million users, so it seems as though many agree with the former bank employee when it comes to the money exchanging app. Next up, Sydney explained why she stays away from Cash App. I don't use Cash App. I have filed way too many claims. I've seen way too many scams directed towards Cash App users, and I've also seen people who kept their money in Cash App and then had it totally seized or frozen like constantly, and they just never see it back. And while she doesn't recommend using Cash App when linked to your debit card, she did note that if you have a Cash App card, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, does insure it, which means it protects your money in case there is a bank failure. I do use PayPal, but only for international transactions because it's globally accepted. It's pretty common in other countries and it's far cheaper to do a PayPal transaction than to do an international transaction through your bank. Sydney also noted that PayPal is a great option because you are able to design an invoice and have people pay directly to it. She added that PayPal is not FDIC insured and that she's seen a lot of scams through it, so she doesn't use it that often. When it came to the last transaction app the former bank employee was detailing, she issued a stark warning to those using Zelle. Do not ever send a Zelle to someone you don't know. You're not going to see that money back. It's gone. The banks don't care if you scammed or you got scammed through Zelle. They don't care if you weren't satisfied with what you bought through Zelle. They are only going to refund your money on a claim if the bank made an error and it's provable. And scammers know that. That's why scammers love Zelle, Sydney said at the end of her video. The former bank employee's warning comes after a long line of users reported being scammed through Zelle by fraudsters pretending to be bank employees. The scam centered around the money exchanging app drains money directly from users' accounts as thieves issue a call to users claiming there has been a fraudulent transaction. and that they would be shutting down the phony charges. After posing as bank employees and asking users if they wanted text message alerts about fraud, the fraudster would send users an enrollment code to confirm their identity and then use that code to hack their account. Users praised the former bank employee for tips that helped them avoid scammers and even agreed with her, noting that they have seen the same scams. One user said, "True. Do not use Zelle unless you know the person. As a fraud analyst for a major bank, thank you for putting this out there. I could tell you horror stories." Another user added, "As a current bank employee, can confirm." And one person commented, "Oh, need to change Venmo to debit card? Great tip." So let's see some of the comments. "I was actually paying attention until I saw the photo. I know that you should never judge a book by its cover, but ... Interesting. If I walked into my bank and saw her behind the counter, I would immediately close my accounts there." Well, that's a little bit disturbing. "I'm not going to trust anybody with green hair on banking. That's kind of weird. I can't take her seriously with that hair." Okay, so basically this is just like a bunch of people pretty much bashing her for her hair. Okay, wow. So yeah, basically all these comments are pretty much just insults to the girl. And here's the thing. The girl could have been a very good banker, bank employee, don't know, right? But the main thing to really understand is that what she said is very accurate, right? The amount of horror stories that exist from like Cash App and Zelle specifically, is horrendous. Also, one, if you can, try not to use PayPal either, because PayPal is a very, very scummy company, right? And they keep trying to put into their terms of service to basically steal $2,000 from you, which is horrendous. So, the main thing that you could pretty much do is create some sort of bank account slash checking account with a debit card or credit card that you only use maybe for online purchases, right? That is something that you could do. Just stick like $500 in there or $1,000, whatever you typically spend online, and just stick that into one specific account, meaning that the only money that is actually ever tied to that account is the money that you directly put into it, and it's not used for any other purpose. You don't have your emergency fund there, you don't have anything there. You just have that online spending fund, right? Or you could have like a small checking account that you just do your everyday purchases on, but you have something that's like a backup just in case something happens to your card. Like the main thing is if you use like a debit card, credit card, you're going to be protected, right? No matter what. So there's really no reason one to send people money like this. Like if you want to give someone money, like just straight up give someone money, give them cash. You avoid this whole situation.